That was sweet. Sorry for the delay. For the second game in a row, I fell asleep right after the game ended. Just haven't been feeling that well again, unfortunately, but that's okay. We'll make the video now. We're here to talk about Houston's 105-103 Game 4 victory against the Oklahoma City Thunder tonight in Houston, Texas. Now, with the win, Houston gets their first win of the series, and it is now 3-1. Oklahoma City leads the series. But Houston avoided the sweep, and they justified how well they played in the last two games. And so I'm really happy for the team, because if they hadn't won a game, then people would have discounted them, even though that they did well in the last two games. But because they won a game, it's like, yeah, we told you we were for real, and now people have to pay attention to us. So it's really a good thing, and it's another good step in the progress of a young team. Jeremy didn't play. This was the first game of the entire season he did not play in. So there have been 86 games played this year, and he's played 85 of them. And so now he did not play in game number 86, which was this game. And, of course, he is recovering from the chest contusion injury that he suffered in game 2. Jeremy looked good, though, on the sidelines. He had the little suit going on and the little hipster glasses, so that was pretty sweet. That was pretty nice. The game wasn't over until the very end of the game. Houston played a really good defensive sequence against Oklahoma City. They made Kevin Durant give up the basketball. Then I think Reggie Jackson missed a shot, and then Serge Ibaka missed a follow-up shot that would have tied up the game, and that was how things ended. Houston was down by 8 points or so at the half, so they really had to come back in this game, and they did that. That just shows, again, their resolve to win this game. Chandler, Bieber, Parsons, and Patrick Beverley both had very good games. Chandler really had a great game, and Patrick Beverley, I don't know if I could say he was playing in place of Jeremy, because again, McHale's been starting the small ball lineup, so it's really hasn't been Patrick playing in spite of Jeremy. It's them playing pretty much at the same time. But however it was configured, Patrick played well. He had a good game tonight, and again, we're happy for that. We want Patrick to do well, and he's been an important pickup for the team, and he definitely did well again tonight. Omer Asik and Carlos Delfino also had nice games tonight. Definitely helped out quite a bit. Now, James Harden, Beard, struggled tonight, this game. He struggled a lot. I think he had 10 turnovers, and his efficiency number was not good. But, the team picked him up. And again, that's what's great about playing on a talented team, is that you don't have to be the best player or the superstar every single night. If you've got other players on the team that can also play well, then there's going to be nights where they can help you out even when you have a bad night. And that's what happened for James Harden tonight. Once again, I want to thank Gary Chen of Taiwan for the artwork you're looking at right now. It's great artwork. We also want to thank Hanny Chang and the Lin Garden JeremyLin fan club for helping make this artwork available for us here at Conservative New Media. You can find out more about Gary, Hanny Chang, and Lin Garden fan club in the video description below the video player. I also want to thank JJ of JeremyLin forum on Baidu for their continued translation of these videos. I really appreciate their work, and you can see an example of their work also in the video description below the video player. But of course, again, you have to know Chinese to be able to understand the translation. Okay, let's talk about the game a little bit here. Patrick did do a good job with Jeremy missing the game. The team showed a lot of pride in this game. They wanted to win this game. They wanted to win this game more than Oklahoma City wanted to win it. And what that means is they played all out. Houston did. With a lot of aggressiveness, a lot of focus, a lot of determination and decisiveness. Oklahoma City played like they had a 3-0 lead. And they kind of figured if they showed up, they were going to win. And it didn't work that way. And so, again, you have to give Houston a lot of credit for doing that. That's just, it's really good. It's easy to show up and just, no team's ever come back from a 3-0 deficit in the NBA playoffs. So it's, once you get into a 0-3 hole, it's pretty easy to say, well, that's it. It's time to start planning vacations, whatever. And you can go out, you can get beat down like the Lakers did against the Spurs the other day. But Houston didn't do that. And that's another really good sign for a young team. They fought. They put everything out there. And it worked. And that's great. And look, you're playing a team that's missing one of its two best players in Russell Westbrook. And, once you're playing an injured team, anything can happen. So if you give yourself a chance, the way that Houston did tonight, who knows what's going to happen next? They can go to Oklahoma City and win, and then what? Russell Westbrook being out of this game changed everything. And it could change the series. If Houston found some things that worked tonight in terms of schemes. And that's really good. What happened tonight for the Thunder was that Kevin Durant had to handle the ball a lot, like much more than he would have liked to have, and much more than was good for the Thunder. And that hurt them a lot. It wore down Durant, and it slowed down OKC's offense. It looked a lot like when Harden handles the ball too much for us, or when Kobe has to handle the ball for the Lakers because Steve Nash is out. It slows down that player. And even though that player is a good ball handler, they're not the primary ball handler. They're not supposed to be. And so if you force them into that role, you're going to hurt their team. And that's what happened to OKC tonight. Houston made Durant have to handle the ball. And they put a lot of pressure on him when he did handle the ball. And what happened is Oklahoma City ended up getting shots and offensive possessions they didn't want. And that played right into what Houston wanted. And it worked great. And like I said, that's something that's going to help Houston a lot going into Game 5. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you Houston's favored to win that game or anything, but they have something now. They found something that works now. And that's going to give them a lot of confidence going into the next game. Okay, Patrick Beverley finished up with 16 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. And his efficiency number was 20, which is very good. And that's quite good. Reggie Jackson, who started in place of Russell Westbrook for the Thunder, he finished up with 18 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. His efficiency number was 14. So what happened here was Patrick won the battle of the backups, or the battle of the reserves, or whatever you want to call it. With Jeremy out and Russell Westbrook out, it came down to the second guys, the second line guys, and Patrick won that, and he did well. Now, Derek Fisher, our old friend, had a pretty decent game. He had 12 points. But Aaron Brooks also had an okay game. He had 7 points, 3 boards, and 2 assists. So, Patrick and Aaron Brooks got it done. They played well. They needed to play well, and they did. And very good. Now, just a quick note on haters for tonight. The haters will say, and already are saying, well, we won because Jeremy was out. That's ridiculous. Of course, that's absurd. And it's a situation where two things occur, but there isn't necessarily any correlation between them. Look, as we know earlier in this year, Jeremy had that huge game against Oklahoma City in the comeback game, the third game of the two teams in the regular season. In that game, Jeremy put up 29 points, 6 boards, and 7 assists with a 30 efficiency against Russell Westbrook. So let's just remember that. This isn't like, again, it's people will try to tell you something different, but it doesn't hold up to scrutiny. And Jeremy's been on the scouting report the whole year. He's a focus of other teams' defenses. Patrick Beverley isn't. Oh, he's starting to become more of one now because Jeremy's down and Patrick's starting, but it's a totally different circumstance. So if you hear people saying that, that's just silly. So just, you can just say, hey, yeah, what happened in Game 3 this year between the two teams? So when Jeremy dominated. So don't listen to any of that. As I mentioned, we do now have hope because we figured out a way to attack this team, particularly on defense, with what I said. Make Kevin Durant handle the ball and slow down their offense, and you can get at them. And that's what we did. Derek Fisher's old. Derek Fisher's not going to be running a great offense and setting up everybody. He's too old to do that. Derek Fisher's best as a spot-up shooter, hitting threes. Reggie Jackson, pretty good. He's got a lot of talent, but he's young. He's not ready to be a full-time guy right now running the team. He's not close to Russell Westbrook. So if you can have Fisher and Jackson as your primary point guards, you can do something against them on defense. And that's why Oklahoma City was using Kevin Durant as the ball handler, but then that has its own problems. And that's what worked tonight. That's what Houston learned tonight. So you're going to see more of that in game number 5. Now, I'm not going to do quarter by quarter. Sorry, Melody, Ting, and others, because Jeremy didn't play. I usually do the quarter by quarter, kind of highlight stuff around Jeremy. I just don't think it makes as much sense to do that tonight. Look, this game was back and forth. Houston came out strong. Oklahoma City came back. Oklahoma City took control by halftime, and Houston fought back. And Oklahoma City made a charge right at the end of the game, but Houston had enough to hold them off. And that's what essentially happened in this game. And Patrick Beverley played great in the third quarter, if I remember correctly. He struggled a bit in the first half, but he really came out with energy in the third quarter. And like I said, I'm thrilled. I'm happy that we have Patrick Beverley on this team. This team they're tough. They're mentally tough. They've got a long way to go. You saw, Harden struggle tonight, but this is a good team with very good chemistry that's going to get a lot better in the next few years as long as everybody stays healthy. So I'm thrilled. I couldn't be happier. This is great. This shows that what the team's all about, and that Houston has pride. They have pride. They wanted to win. They didn't want to get swept, and they did that. And look, let's give credit to the coaching staff and stuff too. They put guys in a position to win. Now, there's some things that didn't work great, and continuing to go to Harden when he's not playing well, you could question that. But, we won. And the team played with heart and energy. And so, if nothing else, the coaching staff didn't interfere with that. They let that happen. And, I thought the coaching staff was fired up. I think did McHale get a technical or something? So it's like, the coaching staff set a good tone. So I give them credit for that tonight. As I said, we move on now to Game 5. Hopefully, it's going to be a lot of fun. That game is going to be a lot of fun and very interesting. Okay, it is 7 a.m. here in the eastern coast of the United States, early Tuesday, April 30th, which means it is 7 p.m. on Tuesday, April 30th in Taipei, Taiwan, and Shanghai, China. Now, I just want to thank everybody for the comments. I know there's been a ton of comments in the recent videos, and I haven't had any chance to stay up with them and respond and stuff. So I said, I'm just having a lot of trouble with my sinuses. I think there might be some sinus surgery in the near future for me. So if you've ever had any trouble with your sinuses, it just wipes you out. So I'm not here. I don't want to whine about it. It's just that's kind of where I'm coming from. So, and I'm just busy with other stuff. So I am reading everything as I always do, and I appreciate all the comments. I know that recently commenter Ivy Sue said that, they said that thankful because I've always had confidence in Jeremy. Yeah, look, we have always had confidence in Jeremy, and I've never wavered on that. Jeremy's legitimate. He's for real. He's going to get better. I was actually talking with somebody on Clutch Fans earlier today or last night, and they were doing the standard hater thing. Hey, Jeremy's not that good, blah, blah, blah. Patrick Beverley, starter, blah, 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 blah. I said, look, this year, Patrick Beverley scored 17 or more points 0 times. Jeremy scored 17 or more points 20 times. Oh, I know what it was, too. Somebody wrote an article. A guy from Real GM named Jonathan Jarks or T. Jarks or whatever. I don't know how you pronounce that. And basically what Jarks wrote was, hey, Patrick Beverley might be the starter next year. I'm just like, are you kidding me? So I said, you have to be careful about who you listen to. A lot of people don't know what they're talking about. Again, I'm not here to diss Jonathan Jarks. I don't know Jonathan Jarks, so I don't want to rip him. But if you think Patrick Beverley is going to start next year based upon a couple playoff games, several of them in which Jeremy's hurt, then you don't know basketball or you don't know the Rockets. And so I had to laugh about that. And that's why I put the statistic, Jeremy 17 plus points 20 times, Patrick Beverley 17 plus points 0 times. It's one thing to put a guy in for his defense or whatever when his offensive game is similar to the guy you would replace him with. Beverley's not at the same level as Jeremy as an offensive player, and he probably never will be just because of the skill differential. Jeremy's special on offense. Again, I love Patrick Beverley, and he's better than I thought he was, and I like him starting with Jeremy. But if you had to pick between Jeremy and Patrick Beverley for one spot, then I'm pretty much always going to pick Jeremy, even if he's playing with James Harden. You have to figure out a way to make it work, and that's up to the coaches. It's up to the players. If you have LeBron and Wade and they both need the ball in their hands and they're both on the same team, you're going to bench Wade? No, of course not. You have to figure out a way to make it work so that you can have Wade on the court at the same time as LeBron, and because that's your best talent lineup. And so for the Rockets, they need Jeremy on the court as a starter. And that'll get worked out. It might get worked out with small ball, with Patrick, Jeremy, and James Harden all starting. That's fine. If that's what works, cool. And it does seem like it does work, and it has worked. Future video 10, thanks a lot for the comments. Really appreciate it. I'm glad you finally had a chance to comment. As you said, Jeremy is going to win in the end. Just what I said to Ivy Sue. I'm very confident about Jeremy. Always been confident about him. Again, if you're a doubter and a hater, then this was the series you were looking for. This was the series when you could try to pull some small sample sizes and say, yep, Jeremy sucks. I told you. It's ridiculous. I made another post on Clutch Fans 2 days ago comparing Jeremy's first 3 playoff starts to Jason Kidd's when Jason Kidd played for Phoenix in 1997. Very similar statistics. The only statistic that is a lot different was Kidd had more assists, but he also played about double the minutes. So the people that want to come out and say, yep, this proves to me Jeremy shouldn't be our starting point guard next year, or he's a bust in the playoffs. And those are people looking for reasons, in my opinion, to discount Jeremy. Don't listen to them. They don't know what they're talking about. Or, they're getting into confirmation bias. They're looking for stuff to supposedly help make their point, but the point is invalid and doesn't hold up when you compare it with other point guards and their first playoff series. So, whatever. Look, people say to me, why do you, and we've talked about this, why do you talk about the haters? You have to talk about the haters when you talk about JeremyLin, because there's so much backlash against Jeremy and irrational hatred, in my opinion. And look, we don't get hung up on it. It's just what I say to you guys. Don't get caught up in that. Don't let the haters dictate whatever. But we're not just going to let it hang out there unanswered either. If there's stupid stuff being said, we'll answer it, because that's the correct thing to do. Because if you don't do that, then you're giving the haters the stage, and that's not right. They don't deserve the stage. Their arguments don't deserve the stage. And so we'll answer them as they need to be answered. Like tonight. We won because Jeremy didn't play. Bzzzt. That's absurd. That's why I brought up the stats of Jeremy versus Oklahoma City in Game 3 this year. I'm not going to let the haters dictate the conversation. And so that's when I'll bring them up. And, as time goes on, we'll have to talk about them less, because Jeremy will have proven everything. There won't be anything to refute. It'll all already be refuted because of what Jeremy's done. But in the early stages of Jeremy's career and in crucial moments like the playoffs and the first playoff series, that's when the haters are going to spring. And that's when we're going to push back hard on them so that they are countered in critical moments. And that's it. I have no desire to talk about the haters. I could care less about them. But they're not going to run the show. And that's important to understand. And like I said, recently here, I've gotten into it or had to take up some discussions with people that are Lin fans that I thought were getting a little disrespectful, whatever. And so, if the time comes, then I'll answer that. As I mentioned, I have much less patience for Lin haters than Lin fans. So I have no problem bringing up the haters and their arguments and shredding them, because that's what you have to do sometimes, or else the neutral observer, the person who doesn't understand basketball and will believe what they hear, they don't know what to believe. So if you give the haters the stage, neutral observer might believe them. That can't happen. It shouldn't happen. And again, as a number one fan channel, whatever, we don't want that to happen, because it's not fair. It's not fair. Again, I'm not here to be fanboy number one. I'm here to be judge or arbiter of discussion number one. If stuff's coming up that's junk arguments, then they need to be put down, whether it's from Lin fans who think he's the greatest player that ever lived, or if it's from Lin haters that think he's the worst player that ever lived. Both of those things need to be tempered, in my opinion, and that's what we're going to do. And that's why I'll bring up haters when I bring them up. Okay, we move on to game number 5, which will take place in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, on Wednesday, May 1st at 9:30 p.m. on the eastern coast of the United States. That game will take place on TNT Network here in the USA. And so the game will take place on Thursday, May 2nd at 9:30 a.m. in Taipei, Taiwan, and in Shanghai, China. Your comments below, thumbs up, thumbs down on this video. We'll give you full information in the video description below the video player about game stories, game highlights, and the box score of tonight's game. Also, information so you can come and join the CNM Facebook group, which has over 2,500 members and growing all the time. I am Paul of Villarreal, the NBA expert. Thanks a lot for watching Conservative New Media. We strive to be the #1 JeremyLin YouTube fan channel. I hope everybody's having a great day or great night wherever you are around the world when you watch this video. This was a great win. It was really good to see the team rewarded for all the hard work they've put in the last 3 games, including tonight's game. So definitely a woo moment. And let's see if we can continue it in game 5. I don't know if Jeremy's going to play. He needs to rest up. You don't want to aggravate that injury anymore and be going into the off season with another injury to rehab like he had last year. So we'll see. We'll see what information comes out in the next day or two regarding Jeremy's status. And let's go on. If we can get a win in Oklahoma City, then this series could really get interesting. Take care. Talk to you soon.